This is quite unfortunate. So you doing the bending? That's what it is. Why do you have Tinder on your phone? As a married man, he's a problem. Let's talk about the birds and the bees, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, little enzymes. Welcome back to Dacia's Digest. Today we will be discussing pregnancy and paternity. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hype this video. Let's get into it. The first story is me, 35 male, with my wife, 29 female, of 5 years, wants a divorce after I requested a paternity test. I met my wife through a mutual friend. We were friends for a year or so before we both became single and decided we were compatible enough to date. We were together 2 years before we got married. I do not know what got into me. My wife is loyal, faithful, but I had been reading statistics about how many men are raising children that aren't their own and had absolutely no idea around the time she found out she was pregnant. We both wanted children. We weren't actively preventing it. About 3 months in, I couldn't take it anymore and told her I wanted a paternity test. She asked me if I was accusing her of cheating. I said yes. Sir. She asked me why. And I couldn't answer her. Yes, because you are a victim of brain rot and being chronically online. Please, some of us just need to get offline. Just stop letting the things that you see online dictate your real life and trump your real life experiences. Because this is actually pretty crazy. He said I couldn't answer her. Neither of us has ever cheated or been cheated on. She works very hard, long hours at her job, but has always let me know where she is, who she will be with. If she was going somewhere with friends, I was always welcomed. I do not know why I did this, and it's tearing me up. She told me she'd gladly give me a paternity test, but that she was moving back to her mother's until that time because she didn't know if she wanted to continue the marriage. She got an amniocentesis test at about 20 weeks. That's where they can do the paternity test before the baby is even there, which I think they take some fluid or something. He said, I am the father. And when she told me, I was so happy, but she wasn't. She told me that she felt like she fell out of love with me the minute I asked her and that she had no desire to reconcile. Our daughter was born July 10th. My wife has gone through a lawyer and has started the motions of divorce and issues of custody. She has since gotten her own apartment. She said she wants to keep this as amicable as possible for the sake of our daughter, but I just want to be a family. She doesn't want support or alimony because she makes more than enough to cover herself and our daughter's needs and live a comfortable life. It's taken since February to even get her to soften her stance and even think about counseling. She said she loves me, but she isn't sure she can get over this. Now I'm trying to think of how to fix this, and I'm just such a broken mess. I want to prepare a list to talk about on Monday at counseling, but I just can't think of anything but apologizing, and that hasn't made a difference in the past months. I don't think it would now. I mean, bro, like I said, sometimes we just gotta log off, bro. Sometimes we just gotta log off and live in the real world. This is quite unfortunate. You really let some, statistics that you saw online and some things that you saw online ruin your marriage and overcome your real life lived experience. It's crazy, but it happens every day. Somebody said, what the F? No reason to think she cheated. Not one iota. Did you think aliens impregnated her? I'd find it hard to overlook that too. OP responded, we were intimately active, so I did know that there was a good likelihood I was the father. I just couldn't shake that little voice that told me I might not be. You might have a problem with anxiety, OP. This sounds almost like you might have some sort of anxiety disorder, some type of thing where you overthink and then you believe that the things that you think are reality when they're not. Either way, I would seek therapy if I were you. Outside of the counseling that you and your wife have planned, you need some individual counseling. Someone said, I know you say you don't know why you did this, but you really need to dig down deep and figure it out. Figure out why you would accuse her of something like that. I'm not asking for a logical reason. I'm asking for the thought process or the root of the feelings behind whatever spurred you to do it. Were you scared of being a dad? Were you scared of locking in on such a long-term commitment with someone? Were you spooked by an outside source? Were you angry about something? Even if it doesn't make sense, even if it's stupid and irrational, there's going to be a reason. What was going on in your head? Someone else said, I'm afraid I agree with her. To take something as precious as a first pregnancy and taint it with garbage from the internet, well, I'd have trouble loving you too. The whole affair is pretty pathetic. Another comment, you have single-handedly destroyed your marriage by not trusting her without a single reason to be suspicious. Good job. And then someone else, wow, what an ass. She never cheated on you and she had to prove her baby to you. I would divorce your ass. You lost her trust big time when you asked for the DNA. It sucks. That really sucks. Update 1 day later, I got to sit down with my wife during my visit with my daughter while she was napping. Wait, the baby here already? Hold on. Oh, because, he did say the daughter was born July 10th, and this is September, July, August, September. Oh, so the baby's only like 2 months. Oh, okay. So she says that this was the straw that broke the camel's back. Here is why she went nuclear, as a lot of people said. As much as this hurt, I needed to hear it. 1, I had trouble trusting her our whole relationship. Despite the fact she had never cheated on me or any exes, she caught me snooping through her phone, email, work laptop before, and because she deals with privileged information, she says I open her up to liabilities with her clients. No, I have never found anything incriminating. Well, now, sir, you left that out the first post, because I was kind of thinking like, if it were me, I wouldn't have divorced over just that one-off instance. I know it's kind of crazy for him to do, but I wouldn't have divorced. But I mean, you obviously have a track record, sir. You conveniently left that out. He said, 2, she has never hidden anything except work-related things because of confidentiality. Her bank accounts, credit card information, phone records were always open to me because she's caught me snooping before and she wanted to assuage my fears. 3, I had recently installed Tinder on my phone and she had caught me on OkCupid 6 months ago. Her best friend sent her my profile, so she thinks that this is me projecting. Sir, now come on. So what was it? Because you don't even explain what it was. What were you doing on those sites? So you doing the bending. That's what it is. And 4, she got upset about the hypocriticalness of it all while she had to be fully open to me. But she says I never showed her the same courtesy and always bitched at her about my privacy. I had my phone passcoded. I would get upset if she did the same. And I'd get angry with her if she went into my computer and email for any reason, even if it was bill related. You do sound shady, sir. So he doesn't really offer any reason why he was acting like that either. This man. Then he continues, she said what really made her not want to work on it was some of the following. There's more. 1, she felt no support from me at all before the test. She would come over every other day and talk to me, but I was cold to her, and she tried to work on it in the beginning. She said my aloofness made her not care. 2, I refused to help her cover the copay for the amniocentesis. She said this was pettiness that made her feel this way, but she was going to get an amniocentesis test anyway because she's paranoid about birth defects and her insurance didn't deem it medically necessary. So he wanted the paternity test and ain't even want to pay for it. Child. Wait, he said I went on a few dates. He's the problem. You're mad at her basically for thinking that she's doing things that you're actually doing. That's what it is. That's really what it is. I mean, you conveniently left out all of these things in your original post. He said, I went on a few dates after she moved out and she found out. She considered it cheating because she had been attempting to work on our marriage at that point and had even made counseling appointments that I refused to attend until she got the paternity test. I didn't remember about this and didn't include it in my last post. Of course you didn't remember. Of course you conveniently forgot. Then she said she's willing to work on the marriage, but she said that it has to be as open both ways, and she isn't willing to move back in with me right away. I have to give her the passcode to my phone and delete Tinder. I do not want to give her the passcode to my phone because I think I deserve my privacy. What is wrong with you? There is something wrong with you, OP. Now, I don't want nobody, me personally, I don't want nobody passcode to their phone, okay? If you're doing something, if I even feel like I have to go through your phone to try and catch you doing something, at that point, the relationship is over, okay? Like, we ain't got no trust. And I feel like if you are doing something, it's gonna come to me. Now, I'm not opposed to a little bit of investigation here and there just to kind of confirm, my suspicions. But I really feel like if somebody is really trying to hide something on their phone, like, you can delete text messages, you can put things, they have apps so you can hide things, you need Face ID, all this stuff. Like, I don't really want the passcode to somebody's phone. But the fact that he wants a passcode to her phone, snooping in her work laptop, in her emails, and all her things, but he don't want the same thing being done to him, that is a huge red flag. You're the problem, sir. You're definitely the problem. And you probably been cheating and doing all types of stuff that she don't know about, that you conveniently probably forgot. And then why do you have Tinder on your phone? As a married man, why do you have Tinder? Let me find out. Him trying to do the paternity test was him low-key trying to get out of the marriage. And once he found out the baby was actually his, he had no excuse at that point. Because none of this is making sense. He finishes up and says her other condition is personal therapy as well as the couples counseling. I don't want to do this either because, as many of you have pointed out, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be sure. So he's saying that he wants to remain married, but he's also not willing to do any of the things that would ensure that he can remain married. So he really actually doesn't want to remain married. Like I said, he's looking for an out. He's looking for an out that will make it seem like it's not his fault. So the whole, I don't want to share my phone. Like, my passcode, I need my privacy. I deserve my privacy. So then it's not, he left the marriage. It's, she wanted to invade my privacy. It's all her. I couldn't, he tried to do the paternity test hoping that it would give him different results. So then he could be like, she having a baby with another man. I gotta leave. Like, it's really given he don't want to be married for real. Maybe this, the reality and the stress of the baby being there is too much for him. I don't know, but something is really off about this man. Somebody said, I'm shocked you posted an update. Your original post included nothing that would help us understand her decision. Frankly, you sound completely out of touch with reality. I can't imagine why she's willing to work on this marriage. Let her go for her sake. OP responded, she hadn't told me. She was keeping contact minimal besides allowing me to see our daughter, but she wasn't opening up to me about how she felt. Someone else said, wow, you go through her phone, emails, and accuse her of cheating and getting pregnant with another man. You refused to attend counseling until she got a paternity test. You also refused to pay for her. You have dating profiles, refused to give her the passcode to your phone, and went out on dates with other women. You won't do any of the things she needs you to do to improve your marriage because you deserve your privacy. Like, they really laid it out. They said, congratulations, you are a frosted dog turd. Someone said, you sound like a pretty horrible partner. You also leave out the fact that amniocentesis is a dangerous and unnecessary procedure. In other words, you were willing to put your future daughter at risk simply because you couldn't wait a few extra months to do a 100% safe paternity test after birth. Regardless of what happens with the marriage, you sound like you need a serious amount of therapy for your insecurities. Honestly, I wouldn't advise your wife to take you back unless you had major breakthroughs in said therapy. I completely agree. Another person, your wife is better off without you. You cheat on her, accuse her of cheating on you, and refuse to do the smallest bit of work to repair things. Do you even want to be married to her? Do you even want this child? That's what it's giving. He doesn't want to be married. he doesn't want to have this kid. He's looking for literally every excuse, every reason to try to get out of it, in my opinion. Final update 5 days later, I realize now that I'm not exactly someone you want to sympathize with, and I'm sorry. I do love my wife and want to be a better husband and father, but I will not get that chance. In therapy, our therapist had us lay everything out on the table, and I admitted that I was an unfair hypocrite. She admitted that she's happier without me, despite being a single mother for all intents and purposes. We attempted to talk it through, with her laying out her terms to re-enter the marriage. I still felt I did not cheat on her because she left me with no discussion of terms. She feels I cheated because we were still married, and actively discussing her eventually rebuilding her trust in me and moving back home. And the fact that she barely was, out the house, her spot in the bed was still warm, and you out already on dates. He said we agreed to try another therapy session, but Tuesday morning she canceled it and she filed for divorce. We had dinner that night. She told me she was sorry, but she didn't think it would work because her trust at this point was irrevocably broken. I told her it was okay. We sat down and talked about visitation until she leaves in January, when she will be moving to her home state with an opportunity that grants her more money and better benefits, including on-site daycare. She told me she harbors no hard feelings towards me, but she wishes it hadn't ended this way. I told her it didn't have to, but she disagreed and said it did. I told her I'd give access to my phone and such, but the fact that I did that to her left a sour taste in her mouth about it, and she doesn't want a relationship where it's considered normal to not share or rifle through the other people's things for no reason, as she put it. We agreed on child support and we will get it in writing. I make a comparable amount to what she will be making, so we agreed to split baby's expenses. Baby will be on her insurance. I gave her a check for the amount for the prenatal pregnancy test. Anything else we can think of? I know there's no chance of getting my wife back now, but how can I be a good dad to baby long distance? We talked about me eventually moving to be in proximity. She made sure to emphasize for baby that we will not be getting back together, but I'm locked into a contract until next December at least. Look, he got himself into this mess. He gonna have to figure it out. I'm not reading all these comments, but feel free to click on the link in the description and read them if you would like. And let's go to the next story. My boyfriend, 24 male, slipped and accidentally told me he got me, 19 female, pregnant on purpose. He says I misunderstood, but I can't let it go. Where do I go from here? So, my boyfriend slipped and accidentally told me he got me pregnant on purpose. That is a dangerous individual, ladies and gentlemen. Dangerous individual. Hoo-wee. She says, I'm still a mess about all of this. Sorry for posting here. My boyfriend and I have been together for about 1.5 years. We had talked about kids before. We both want them, at least I think I do. I just don't want them now. He thinks differently about that, but said he respected my decision to wait. We found out I'm pregnant about 6 weeks ago. It was very unexpected, and I was incredibly upset. I don't take the pill because it caused a lot of issues for me, but we always used banana wrappers. I just assumed it must have failed. We spoke about it a lot and decided to go for it. In his words, it must have meant to happen. Now, let's talk about the birds and the bees, ladies and gentlemen. Let this be a cautionary tale, okay? I know they should be teaching this in all high school curriculums. I know that we specifically had a presentation that we had to attend, I believe in middle school, about this, but let me just remind you, if you were unaware or did not know, you can in fact get pregnant if you have unprotected 2P spicy with another person, okay? Birth control or not. Birth control is only 98 point something, effective. So, if you really don't want kids at the time or ever or whatever, then a double backup method of protection is always a good idea, and even a triple, okay? So, whether that be, finishing the 2-piece spicy outside the box, okay? If you get my drift. Whether that be using napkins to eat the 2-piece spicy, you get my drift. Or whether that be taking an antacid pill, before eating the 2-piece spicy, if you get my drift. Are we following along, class? These are ways that you can prevent how can I put this? These are ways that you can prevent a byproduct, if you will, of the 2-piece spicy. And I would suggest at least 2 of those methods, but all three together is a surefire way to ensure that you don't have no byproduct of the 2-piece spicy. Now, we're not even considering, how do we say this, contaminated meat. We're not even considering food poisoning, if you will, okay? So using napkins, can aid against food poisoning, if you get my drift, from the 2-piece spicy. Professor D logging off. I hope this message came across clear in no uncertain terms. And just be safe out there when you are engaging in 2-piece spices. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. But anyway, back to the story. She said, I'm still trying to make peace with this pregnancy and am often emotional about it. A few days ago, I was having a particularly rough day with morning sickness and I couldn't stop crying. And he lost his patience and said something like, if I'd known you'd be like this, I never would have gotten you pregnant. I think he realized he messed up because he corrected himself and apologized, saying he didn't mean it that way, but it still doesn't sit right with me. He's also been incredibly sweet since then, but it feels like he's trying to distract me, or I'm losing my mind and not appreciating the sweet things my boyfriend is doing. I honestly don't know anymore. Do I keep pushing this? Do I just let it go and accept the situation for what it is? Any advice would be appreciated. I mean, the way he said it is a bit off. I mean, to me, it's not really definitive, but I'm leaning more towards, he probably did. He probably did slip up and admit to something he wasn't, supposed to admit to, because the way he said it is a bit off. I would have never gotten you pregnant. It's like, oh, so you was trying to get me? What do you mean by that? Someone said, I don't know where you live or how far along you are, but if eliminating the pregnancy is still an option, it's one to consider. You're not stupid. You know what he said and what he's doing to distract you. You know the sweetness is fake. The mask slipped and he showed you who he is. Ask yourself if you want the next 9 months with someone who'd snap at you about a very normal reaction to an unwanted pregnancy. Ask yourself if you want to raise a kid and stay forever with someone who would violate you and then make light of it when he's annoyed. You have the rest of your life ahead of you. Don't let him ruin it. OP responded, I needed this. Thanks. My gut is telling me something is not right here, but I keep doubting myself like I'm just being dramatic. Unfortunately, where I live, getting rid of the pregnancy is not legal. I mean, me personally, I don't think I would be able to do that. I've never been in that situation, but I just don't think if that is what you're considering, you can travel. There are other places you can go. I'm just saying. Someone says, say it with me now, grooming. A 22 to 23-year-old pursuing a 17-year-old is not okay. You were groomed, and groomers always push for more and more control and manipulation. Getting you pregnant on purpose is the ultimate attempt at asserting control over you. I do, but it's not looking good. He definitely is trying to trap you. Then the same post was updated a few days later, and this update sounds a bit suspicious. It says, I'm sorry, my boyfriend saw your messages and really appreciates your concern, but we're fine. We decided to go for it and are very excited to become parents. I was just being emotional and should have spoken to him instead of going to Reddit. It's on me that I misunderstood him. I'm very lucky to have him. Thank you for everything. I'm so sorry. That don't sound like her. That don't sound like her in the least. Someone said he clearly either dictated the edit or posted it himself. It's very concerning. He now has her believing that she, quote, misunderstood him. Okay, but he was still horrible to her when she was sick. Was that a misunderstanding too? I'm very lucky to have him? So, 1 month later, an update. Someone told me I should update here. I hope it's okay that I do and that I keep it short and sweet. I got so many replies and private messages that I'm finally reading, and I don't even know what to say. Things got really bad, especially after he saw my post and account, but I'm away from him now. People who I didn't expect would be on my side have been a godsend and helped me out so much. They got me out when things were really awful and I couldn't be more grateful. I'm still pregnant, which isn't what I wanted, but it is what it is at this point. I'm sorry, but I'm feeling a lot safer and am figuring out what to do. I also get the feeling he's kind of losing interest in this baby now that he's starting to realize we won't be a family together, but we'll see, I guess. So many people, women messaging me, offering me, a stranger, help, like to take me in, fly me out, send me things, and so on. Thank you for everything, really. I wish I could do more to repay your kindness, but I hope these people and the ones who took the time to reply at least see this and know how much they mean to me. Thank you so much. Someone said, did your boyfriend stand over your shoulder as you edited the original, or did he do it himself? OP said, I wrote a first draft and he made some changes. He never got aggressive. He was just so emotionally distraught with me. I had to somehow make it right. I didn't realize then how bad it all was. Another person, if you're away from him, that means he knows your login information to make changes. What are you doing? Change all of your passwords. OP responded, he doesn't have my login information. At least I'm pretty sure he doesn't. I'm sorry I didn't explain it clearly. I made the edits of my first post with him watching. He made some changes on my phone. He hasn't done anything to this one. That's scary. Someone said once the baby is born, he'll use custody and visitation as a means of control. I don't think OP is even close to being out of the woods here. Not saying it's easy, but adoption might be a good option to get OP off of their abuser's radar, since they also say they don't want to have a baby. Unfortunately, still have to have the baby, but adoption by loving parents is much better than being raised by a resentful parent. Oof. And look, all jokes aside, I hope that my sex ed 2-piece spicy lesson gets through to people. Babies are not to be played with. Babies are not a joke. Babies are real life human beings. They are not, toys. They are not things that you just decide to have on a whim. They are human beings that grow to be teenagers, then young adults, then full-grown adults with their own set of emotions and feelings and challenges and health issues and everything, okay? So, I really want to make it clear. Don't take it lightly if you're considering having a child. You really need to consider what it would be like to be a parent for the rest of your life. A parent, not just what it be, I want to see what the baby would look like with both of us. No, use an AI generator. I just want a little mini me that will love me and then, no, because that's not a guarantee. I just think babies are so cute and no. Go volunteer at the, children's home or the NICU or something. If that's, go babysit if that's really what you want. But babies are not to be taken lightly, bro. I'ma just leave it there. Palate cleanser. I saw this video on Instagram. The text on screen says, when you teach the owner of Big Country how to pop the fan. So you know how people have their little fans? Well, I don't know if everybody does know this, but if you've been to a Beyonce concert, you know. Or if you've even seen, where them fans at. Whoa, 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 I got my boots on the ground. That dance, but they have the fans and they pop them. Anyway, they're teaching this guy how to pop the fan. He finally gets it. He gets excited. Here's the video.
Oh, you gotta get your hand down with it, Chad. Go in. I'm sorry. I'm busy. Yeah. Oh, I got it.
I am weak. He got so excited. He said, "Oh, I got that mother." That is hilarious. And y'all can't see if you're not watching or if you're just listening, but he's literally strutting around back and forth in this parking lot outside of the whatever this, I guess this place is called Big Country, just working the fan. It is so, and he has like one hand on his hip. It is hilarious. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.